200,000 years ago, a hunter looks up from the grass and realizes the group is gone. Tonight, you look at your phone and realize no one has messaged back. His stomach tightens, not from missing a meal, from missing his people. Your stomach tightens too, not from missing food, from missing something you can't quite name. He scans the tree line, searching for movement, for a familiar shape, for anyone. You refresh the screen, searching for a notification, for a name, for anyone. 2 moments, 200,000 years apart. Same tight feeling in the chest, same restless scanning. What if they aren't just similar? What if they are the same signal, running on the same ancient hardware, just wearing different clothes? Here's the strange part. Your brain does not really have a separate alarm for loneliness. It borrowed one. It took the exact system built to tell you you need food and pointed it at something else entirely, other people. In 2020, a researcher named Livia Tomova ran an experiment that sounds almost too simple to matter. She put people in isolation for 10 hours. No phones, no talking, no contact with another human being. Then she put them in a brain scanner and showed them pictures of food and pictures of people socializing. She also ran the same people through a second version of the test. 10 hours without food instead of 10 hours without people. Then the same scanner. The same kind of images. What she found should stop you for a second. The isolated brains lit up in the exact same region when they saw the social images as the hungry brains lit up when they saw the food. A part of the midbrain called the substantia nigra, a small cluster of cells mostly known for handling craving and reward, fired almost identically in both cases. Your brain does not treat loneliness as a mood. It treats it as a deficiency, the same way it treats an empty stomach. Why would evolution build it this way? Ask yourself what happened to a person on the savannah 200,000 years ago who wandered too far from the group and didn't feel anything about it. No unease, no pull to go back, no tight, hollow ache in the chest reminding them where safety was. That person did not last long. Alone, there was no one to watch for the predator sneaking through the grass behind you. No one to help carry the weight of a bad hunt. No one to warn you before the storm hit. Group membership was not a nice to have. It was survival infrastructure, as real and as necessary as food and water. So the body did what bodies do best. It repurposed an old, reliable warning system, one already wired for urgency, and pointed it at social distance instead of just physical hunger. A researcher named John Cacioppo spent decades studying exactly this. He called loneliness a biological signal, not a personality trait, and argued it evolved for the same reason physical pain evolved: to protect you from a threat before the threat finished you off. That reframes the whole feeling, doesn't it? The ache you get after a quiet weekend with no calls. The specific flatness of eating dinner alone in a room with the television on for noise. That is not you being fragile. That is roughly 200,000 years of pressure, still doing its job, still trying to walk you back toward the group. There's another piece to this, and it goes even deeper than craving. A researcher named Naomi Eisenberger studied what happens in the brain during social rejection specifically, not just isolation, but the sharper sting of being excluded. She found that when people were left out of a simple game, a region called the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex activated. That's a mouthful, so here's the plain version. It's a strip of brain tissue that also activates when your body experiences actual physical pain, like a burn or a cut. Being excluded does not just feel bad in some vague emotional sense. Your brain files it at a structural level in the same folder as physical injury, which means when you say being left out hurt, you are not exaggerating. You are describing with total biological accuracy what your brain just did. Put these three findings side by side and a picture starts to form. Isolation triggers the same craving machinery as hunger. Exclusion triggers the same pain machinery as an actual wound. And the whole system, according to Cacioppo, evolved specifically because staying connected to the group used to be a matter of life and death. You were never built to be fine alone for long. No one was. That was never a flaw in the design. It was the design. Here's where it gets uncomfortable, though. You live in the most connected era that has ever existed. Messages arrive instantly. Faces appear on screens from the other side of the planet. There are more ways to reach another human being right now than at any point since the species began. And yet loneliness has not gone down. In many places, it has climbed. Why would that be if connection is this easy now? Because the ancient alarm system was not built for messages. It was built for presence, for shared meals, shared fires, shared work, shared silence. A notification can tell your phone that someone thought of you, but it cannot do what a hand on your shoulder does, or what sitting across a table from someone for 2 hours does. The craving system lights up for contact, not content. And a feed of other people's lives, scrolled alone at midnight, can look a lot like food you can see but never actually eat. That's the trap. You get the cue of connection, the notification, the like, the message thread, without the thing your body is actually asking for. So the craving doesn't resolve. It just gets fed, just enough to stay awake. Think about what that means for something as ordinary as scrolling through photos of friends at a party you weren't at. Your brain isn't being irrational when that stings a little more than it should. It's running the oldest calculation it knows. The group is together, and you are not in it. For 200,000 years, that calculation kept people alive. It has no idea it's looking at a phone screen instead of an actual hillside. There's a reason this matters beyond just understanding your own bad nights. Once you know loneliness works like hunger, you stop treating it like a character flaw. Nobody tells a starving person to just stop being hungry. Nobody says their hunger is a sign of weakness. But people say exactly that about loneliness constantly, to themselves most of all. You should be able to handle being alone. You shouldn't need people this much, except you were built to need people. Every part of the evidence points the same direction. And just like hunger, the craving responds to real input, not symbolic input. A single long conversation, face to face, does more for that ancient alarm than 100 notifications ever could. Not because notifications are worthless, but because they were never the food. They were just the smell of it drifting by. So the next time you feel that particular hollowness, late at night, after closing an app that promised connection and somehow left you feeling further from it, consider what your body is actually telling you. It is not telling you that something is wrong with you. It is telling you, in the oldest language it has, that you are a social animal running an alarm system built 200,000 years before smartphones existed, and that alarm is not broken. It is working exactly as designed. 200,000 years ago, a hunter felt that hollow ache and turned back toward the fire, because his body knew, long before he did, that the group was where survival lived. Tonight, when you feel that same hollow ache, it is not your phone failing you, and it is not you failing yourself. It is the oldest, most reliable part of you, still turning back toward the fire.